Welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa, one and all. I'm so happy you're all here today. Our invocation will be given by past President Chuck Wilson, Song and Pledge by Jerry Murator. On the piano is Tom Wolf. Let's give him a hand. We missed him last week. Tom, you have no idea. And visitor introductions by past President Linda Bradshaw.
Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you have made. Thank you for the men and women gathered here and those who could not be with us that are dedicated to do good things for our brothers and sisters here and around the world. We realize, Lord, there are many who are suffering from not enough to eat, from repression, from abuse, and yes, even the threat of death. Have mercy on all who need you and guide us as a club and an organization to do your will, to reach out to even the least of these, to feed, free, protect, and comfort. Thank you for our speaker and the work that he and his staff are doing in our community and surrounding areas. Bless that work. And thank you for the leadership in our club. We are blessed with such great talent and an eagerness to serve. Be with us throughout the rest of this day and week and guide us every step of the way. In your name we pray. Amen.
You know, speaking of Tom, we still need somebody who can fill in that you don't have to read music, but if you can play the piano and do some basics. Linda Bradshaw and Roger Hartman sometimes will fill in when Tom's not here, but we need more because Linda does a lot of traveling. She goes to baseball games or something. And so if you have that talent and are willing to share it with us, we'd really love to have you. So see John Delavadova or contact the office or talk to the person next to you. I don't know what you want to do. But, you know, we really need somebody to help out, fill in on occasion. Okay, if you'll join me, we're going to sing God Bless America, followed by the pledge. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. I'm guilty. Yankees, Mariano, yes, I can't resist these kind of things during the summer. But Madam President, it's my pleasure today to introduce to you and to our club, our visiting Rotarians and guests. I would like to remind everybody in here that we were chartered April the 1st, 1915, soon to celebrate our centennial, just a very short time. You are visiting Club 145 in the Rotary world, and we are District 6110, over 33,000 clubs in the Rotary world. We are in Zone 31. So, host Rotarians, if you'll please have your guests stand with you, and we'll acknowledge all as I complete the list, which is quite lengthy today. It's a great list. Bob Hunt has with his guests today Tulsa Arts and Humanities, Ken Busby, right here in the front. Rob Berry, Heather Duncan. Lou Ann Buellinger, Tony Beretti. Michael Willis, Ron Peters. Thank you. Beverly Marquardt, Kareen Gates. Melissa Clark, Dion Smith. Bob Sade has his daughter and his son, Kim Cook and Dan Mooney. Glenn Wright, Stevie Wallace. Looking. Mike Neal, Cayenne Kamas. Huh? Oh, she's our Rotaract president. I'm sorry, I should have given her that kudos. Nice to have her here. Tim Knoll has Matt Crane and Lucinda Crane. Luann Buehlinger also has Nicole Gentar. Beth Donica, Suzanne Stewart. Will Smith has Tim Koski and Matt Horton. Here. Michael Turner, notated wonderful daughter, Megan Turner. And Scott Philstrip has Dr. Ree Stearns. Here. That's my list. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. I don't have that list of visiting Rotarians, but I do think that we have from Sunrise, Tom Clark. Tom, are you here? There he is. And visiting Rotarians from Bixby, Jack Maxwell. Jack, I'm sorry. How could I miss you? Anybody else I've missed, I apologize. I didn't get the list, but we're happy to have everybody come back and see us again.
Thank you, Miss Linda. And she is already working on our big centennial, so that is still to come. Our Rotary sponsors this week, Mark Gray from Inverness Village, and we encourage you to do business with your fellow Rotarians. And let's all thank today's sponsors and everybody who volunteered. Yay. Now, we have one committee meeting today, and it is for social events. And they need some more enthusiastic, fun-loving, wonderful souls. So Marty is saying, please join after the meeting if you'd like, room 234, and she's got some great ideas for some events that we can do here for our club. So room 234. Now, as many of you know, and you've been following news, this past weekend marked the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War on July 27th. I know we have some members who are veterans of that conflict, so would you please stand so that we can take a moment to recognize your service to our country. Any Korean veterans? Thank you. And just an update on Ron Butler, because I know we're all concerned. He has been upgraded. It's called intermediate care. He is still critical. He's taking small amounts of food. He's actually walking. Still no flowers, but cards will really be appreciated. He's hanging in there, so let's just keep him in our prayers. And project announcements. Tony Oliva, please come on down.
Good afternoon. I am the chair of the sponsor committee this year, and want to let you know that we have forms out on every table for those who would like to become sponsors. We all know Rotary is an organization based on and supported by our businesses. As Rotarians, we want people to know that we support Rotary, but Rotary does restrict, we aren't to use the Rotary emblem on our business cards or company websites and things like that. So we want to offer the opportunity for you to show your support by becoming a sponsor. And then you would have your name and your company name on the Rotary website, on the front page that we put out every week, and also on the screens. So it's a great opportunity to show your support for Rotary. Like I say, there's a form on every table, but I only put one form on every table, so don't fight over them. if you need one, you can see me, Carl Vincent. I'm not sure, I haven't seen Carl today, so I'm not sure where he is. He can help you, or Jane Stewart. Any of us can help you fill out the forms, get the information that you need, answer your questions. So thank you for your support. And I certainly want to thank our current sponsors and continuing sponsors for their support over the years. Without them, it would be a much bigger struggle than it currently is. So thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Kathleen Cohen, she's going to be talking about Matching Points Challenge for contributions to the Rotary Foundation. Kathleen?
Thank you, Karen. I am Kathleen Cohen, and I am absolutely delighted to say that I am the chair of the committee that is called the Rotary Foundation Committee. There are 2 foundations, and by the end of this year, I'm going to make sure that I understand, and everyone in this room understands the difference between the 2, how they are both wonderful and make us magnificent and unique, but they are different. And one is the Rotary Club of Tulsa Foundation. That's our local foundation here where we do all this wonderful stuff, Crescendo, the IBA Awards, all this kind of thing, all the marvelous stuff, and where we raise a lot of money and have a wonderful time and do a lot of good things for people. Then we have the second foundation that I'm chair of the committee, and that's just simply the Rotary Foundation, and that's the international. That's the venue for supporting everything international and the magnificent things that Rotary International has done because of everybody in this room and every room across the entire world. And so those are the 2 foundations we have. And one of the things, as being a part of that foundation, we international, we get the opportunity to share points. Now the point system is very, very complicated, and you're going to get an email and talking about it for you with the idea that there will be people that have extra points that they can give, and if you're, say you give $100, and if you only, I'm not even going to explain how this matching point thing works. How would that be? Okay, but anyway, I have a name here, and it's right in your Brenda Melicon will be taking questions. But it's a chance to become a Paul Harris Fellow with the help of one of the other Rotarians, and we will have a president, our Rotarian, District Governor Ken Colby. He's coming on the 21st, and we're going to do a presentation of any of the new Paul Harris Fellows that we have at that point. So anyway, we're gonna have a test at the end of November. Okay, put that on your calendar. But in the meantime, we have the honor of having the Rotary International President, Ron Burton, who's from Norman, Oklahoma, can you imagine? And he has given us the challenge to be Class A, first class. That means everybody will give something to the Rotary International, and that's our goal. We'll figure out how we're going to do it as it goes on, but help us become what we already do know, that we are first class all the way. Continue internationally.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And you'll be getting an email that will clarify some of that. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, Rob Berry's up next, and he's got a $4,459 Club Foundation grant presentation to Heather Duncan and Violet Rush of Community Action Project.
Okay. Following that, I want to explain this is Rotary Club of Tulsa Foundation. We did meet with Community Action Project, otherwise known as CAP, earlier in the year, and I'd like to introduce Heather Duncan. She is the Director of Donor Relations, and as Karen just said, we are giving them a check for $4,459, and I'll let you explain a little more of what you will be doing with that.
Thank you so much. Well, it's just a thrill to be here with you all today and such great company. And I just want to thank you for your generosity to our program. There are over 13,000 children 4 and under that are actually living in poverty here in Tulsa, and CAP is able to serve over 2,200 of them through our early childhood program. And in addition to an excellent early childhood education, we are able to provide wraparound services to their family, because it's very important that we meet their needs and help remove obstacles in their life. And health is one of those issues. We do require well child checks, as all schools do, but our families have transportation issues, healthcare issues, many issues that prevent them from getting those checks done. So because of your generosity, we're able to bring the checks to them. With this generous gift, we'll be purchasing a machine that will help us test the hemoglobin levels of our students. In addition, over 10% of our students have a diagnosed disability, and we are going to be able to purchase an amazing tricycle that will allow our children with physical disabilities participate in some of our activities. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and thank you for all you do for Tulsa. Thank you.
And Bob Hunt, with a very familiar face, Ken Busby.
I'm glad the other Bob had a chance to explain the difference in these foundations, but you will remember some months ago when Ken Busby was our guest, and in connection with the application for $7,000 to help the Arts and Humanities Council develop a website in connection with their move downtown to the Hardesty Brady District Center. They have done that, and we were able to give him half of his request some months back, but now we're able to give him the balance of it. And so we've got Ken here to tell you what's going on and wish him well.
Thank you, Bob. Just briefly, I do want to say thank you extremely very much for this. You're allowing us to have to fix our very antiquated website. So we now are working with Get Wit Creative in the Brady Arts District. They're developing a new website. It's in process. If you go to ahatulsa.org, you can see it. It's not quite finished yet, but it's really close. This has really made a huge difference. And now we're in WordPress, and we have the ability to make the changes and corrections to it ourselves, and it's just making us a much more efficient organization. I brought a short video for you just to give you an idea. This is not about the website, but this is about the programs of the council and our new facility downtown, if you haven't had a chance to see it. And it'll give you an idea of what our website is supporting. Is the website tells people about all the classes, all the programs, all the education that we do through our new facility. So if you'll take a look at the monitor. It took us 9 years to become an overnight success. And when I came to the Arts and Humanities Council, which was executive director, this wasn't even on the table.
Yay, congrats, Ken. And this Friday is First Friday in the Brady District, so it's the perfect time to go down and enjoy the AHA and wander through everything that Rand is going to tell you about. So keep that in mind. Friday, it is a hoot. There's also a new exhibit at the Living Arts, and it's all about Tulsa, and it's a juried art show, and everything will reflect Tulsa in it. I'm excited about seeing that as well. And you will love what Rand's going to show you in just a minute. Please welcome our Sergeant at Arms, Miss Janet Rockefeller.
Yeah, okay, every week, okay. Okay, how's everybody this week? I'm good, thanks for asking. Okay, if you want to turn somebody in, and I won't tell next time, I swear, contact me, Rotary at smgtulsa.com. I went through the Tulsa people, and we have a lot of overachievers this week. The main one is Don Walker. He is getting the 2013 Vision and Education Leadership Award. Don, congratulations. I think that's great. TCC.
He's
Tulsa
hunting.
Community College.
I think he's away hunting.
Yeah, and that's the picture that's in the Rotary, but, I mean, really. He's a lot better looking than that, I think. Okay. Okay, and now, Lynn, I caught you. I know that you're over there, but I caught you in Tulsa People, Faces Behind the Places. And I also caught Mike Neal, because you went to you partied with the PSO people for their 100th anniversary, so I'm glad you had a good time. And finally, Harvey Rowe, the 10th anniversary honoree for the Oklahoma Aquarium. And I talked to some of the folks at the aquarium, and they just wanted to thank him so much for his unwavering support and his contributions. So thanks, Harvey, from the Oklahoma Aquarium. Okay, Barney James is having a birthday, but more importantly, he is paying $100 because he wants to brag about his daughter, Bob Reed's granddaughter. Meredith is an incoming freshman to Booker T. Washington High School. She was just selected as one of 25 Tulsa area freshmen and sophomores to take part in the Youth Philanthropy Initiative. It's a 3-year program sponsored by Charles and Lynn Schusterman. So way to brag, Dad. And way to go, Meredith. And that's all I have. Have a good week.
Thank you, Janet. And how are you? All right. And now for our Rotarian of the Day. I won't leave him out this time. Past President Hal Allen joined our club in April 1980 and served as club president in 1991-92. He retired a few years ago as chairman and CEO of Allied Bearings Supply Company. Hal is an active board member at the Philbrook. And I said, Rand, how many years? I don't know, quite a few. I said, Hal, how many years at Philbrook? Exact same words. I don't know, quite a few. So, I don't know, but quite a few. Also, I'd like to acknowledge that Will Smith and Norm Abjornson are also active and on the board at Philbrook, so appreciate that. Hal is both a Club Foundation Fellow and a Paul Harris Fellow. He is also an MSNI ambassador, as well as a member of our Allen Edwards Society and Giving Group. Please welcome Rotarian of the Day, past President Hal Allen.
Thank you, President Karen. It's a pleasure for me to be able to introduce our speaker today. He arrived in Tulsa in June of 2007, and since that time, Rand Suffolk has been on a mission to enhance the museum experience for all of the museum's members and guests. The museum has approximately 65 full-time employees and an annual budget of $7 million. Rand has curated more than 25 exhibitions and has served as a juror, panel member, or guest lecturer for a variety of art-related organizations and programs. He has also served on the boards of numerous community and statewide nonprofit organizations and currently serves on the boards of the John Hope Franklin Center for Reconciliation and on the Visit Tulsa Advisory Board. Rand earned a bachelor's in English from Connecticut College, a master's in higher education administration from Columbia University, and a master's in art history from Bryn Mawr College. Rand played a key role in the negotiations to obtain the Atkins collection for Philbrook, which was the driving force to give Philbrook a presence in downtown Tulsa. He is also expanding the museum's reach by creating a relationship with Crystal Bridges Museum in Arkansas. I have personally witnessed the programs Rand has put in place to increase membership, but more importantly, to increase visitation to the museum by both adults and more participation by younger people. Please join me in welcoming the Director and President of Philbrook Museum of Art, Rand Suffolk.
So I guess my first question is I forgot to educate myself on how I advance my slides. Is there a... It'll be much easier if I can do that myself, actually. Well, in any case, apparently this means that I need to get a video, right? I mean, after seeing that great video of Ken's organization. Well, thank you so much for having me here. It's a delight. I think this is the third time that I've had an opportunity to come in front of this Rotary Club, and I love how you all turn out. But it's a great privilege for me to have a chance to talk about the work of our organization to people that are also focused on service in terms of what we do. And I also want to pause and say thank you. Every time I come back here, I see an increasingly larger number of friendly faces, people that have invested their time and their energy in making Philbrook a better place. And as a consequence of that, I want to say thank you.
Rand, while they're looking,
Yes.
can you talk about Crystal Bridges and the relationship that you have nurtured between that museum and our museum?
Sure. That's a great way to fill time. Actually, one of the things that we've been focusing on is a role that Philbrook can play in terms of cultural tourism within our community. And Crystal Bridges, a fantastic museum that's just come online just in the course of the past year and a half. As you know, in Northwest Arkansas over in Bentonville, they're going to be coming in December to speak about the wonderful things that they're doing over there. But one of the things that we realized was that as they were about to open, we saw sort of an interesting migration pattern happen. And that was that a large number of our colleagues were coming through, typically flying to Tulsa. It was a little bit easier for people around the country to fly through Tulsa than into Northwest Arkansas. And so what we saw was that people were first coming to Tulsa, they were connecting with Philbrook, and then ultimately they would go off to Crystal Bridges for a number of days. Thank you very much. And so after we saw that happen, then we saw another migration pattern forming, and that was that we started to see different museums actually bringing groups of people, members, trustees, and so forth. And again, stopping first in Tulsa and then going over to Crystal Bridges or vice versa. And we thought, maybe there was an opportunity for us to kind of capitalize on that. And so as Hal mentioned, I'm on the board of Visit Tulsa, and so I started talking to them a little bit about the possibility of reaching out to the folks in Bentonville and meeting with the director of Crystal Bridges and some representatives from their own CVB about the possibility of creating something a little more structured. And in fact, that's what happened. The two CVBs, we all got together, and then after that, they really started work on developing sort of a draft itinerary that they could sell to different motor coach tour operators, other, tourism entities around the country to try and drive people to this part of the world. Crystal Bridges did such a remarkable job in the lead up to opening at sort of casting a big spotlight on this part of the country. And of course, they'll be the first to tell you that while they've seen almost 1 million people since they've opened their doors, they know that that's not going to last forever. And just as the attention may start to wane with them, my hope was that that'll be exactly the time that everything in the Brady district will really begin to bloom, and that we'll be prepared to sort of carry that torch a little bit longer if we can work together to kind of make it a regional tourism destination. And so that's kind of what we're working on. So that's a good question. Well, what I want to start off with, of course, is to talk a little bit. In one iteration or another in the past, you've heard me say that one of the great mantras of our DNA is to focus much less on what Philbrook is, as opposed to focusing on what Philbrook does as an organization. That's really been what we've been striving to do over the course of the past half dozen years. And in fact, while this is Philbrook, you don't need that. While this is Philbrook, certainly this is the work of our organization. This is an organization that is determined to foster intimate, subjective experiences with complex culture. We are an organization dedicated to making a positive, immediate impact within our community and region. We're focused on encouraging the broadest possible public participation, and we're intent upon becoming more relevant every single day. Of course, a key ingredient of this is that we try and create programs that are inspiring and compelling, and we also try and present some of the finest examples of artistic achievement that we can get our hands on at the museum. This is the true work of Philbrook, and this is what hopefully you're participating in and you're supporting as an organization. Just a couple quick updates in terms of our progress. I've talked about these before. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about them, but you can see our Free Second Saturdays program continues to grow. We're averaging nearly 2,000 people every second Saturday of the month. We wanted to create something that would remove any barrier to access, whether it was real or perceived. We've challenged our education department to create a critical mass of hands-on, family-oriented programming, and you can see how the community's responded. We're also so thrilled about the fact that One Oak recently came on with a $200,000 grant to take ownership of this program for 2 years to make sure that it would continue to grow. The one thing if you're looking at this one, that 2000, there's a little bit of a hangover there, and that's because we had that big Egyptian show that year. And we had, during that run, for the 3 months that exhibition was up, we actually averaged over 3,000 people every second Saturday of the month. So pretty exciting stuff for us. Our My Museum program continues to grow as well. This was another program we launched just a few years back. You can see it's gone from 0 to over 18,000 children participating in this. The quick version is kids come to the museum, they get that little kit that you see the girl holding. Inside are 3 art-making components, a pad of paper, a pencil, and an eraser. And that's theirs to keep for free. Every month, those children come back. They get an art card that you see along the bottom there that focuses on a work of art, either in the permanent collection or a special exhibition. You flip the card over. There's 2 to 3 questions. There's a paragraph, rather, about the object and artist who created it. There's 2 to 3 questions for the caregiver to ask the child to engage him or her. And then there's 2 to 3 art-making activities for that child to do that are inspired by the work. At the same time, every month, they're encouraged to come back. When they do, they get another art card, but they also, for free, get another art-making component for their kit. It might be markers, a glue stick, scissors, you name it. But we're seeing literally hundreds of these families come back month after month after month to participate in this program. So we're really excited about that. These 2 programs, by the way, one of the things anecdotally that's been so exciting is that when we first started launching them, I would be out and about and people would tell me, first, it was, my kid knows when Second Saturdays is, and they will drag me back to the museum every month. They just know. What I'm hearing now from people is, literally, my family and 3 other families come together every second Saturday of the month. That's what we do as a group. And that is, that's really, makes you want to cry a little bit. But it's also exactly what we want as an organization. We've really, again, trying to create as many gateways as possible to connect with their museum. Social media continues to be an important way for us to do that. You can see we've gone from just about 2,100 people 5 years ago, or not only back in 2009 rather, to now nearly 33,000 people following us on Facebook. In a similar fashion with Twitter, we've gone from about 1,000 people during the same time period to nearly 7,500 people. And what's so fantastic about this is that while it's certainly made our communications efforts more nimble, this has also made us a better listening organization. As you can imagine, we put questions out there about the end user experience, and we get pure, unfiltered responses about what works, what doesn't work, what people loved, what they hated, whether or not the bathrooms were clean on second Saturdays or not. We get that feedback, and if we're doing our job appropriately, we're able to wrap that into our ongoing assessment regarding all of our programs and hopefully get better every single day. Culture of collaboration is, again, another very important component of our DNA, and I just put this up here to kind of remind all of you that we actively partner in terms of either one-time or ongoing projects with nearly 20 plus other nonprofits a year in our community. This certainly makes us more interesting. It challenges us to think about our mission in new and creative ways every time that we engage one of these strategic partnerships. And at the same time, it certainly exposed us to different segments of our community than otherwise we would have had a chance to engage. Just in terms of attendance, we had about 130,000 visitors last year, but one of the things that I probably mentioned in the past, but it's something that we're very proud of, is that last year, 42% of our visitation was minorities. That's the third year in a row that we've had over 40% minority participation at Philbrook. To put that in context, well, this starts to show you that just from a local standpoint. At the upper left-hand side, you'll see the demographics by ethnicity of Tulsa County, and then the demographics of our audience last year. You know, we all know that Tulsa has a pretty complex history when it comes to race, whether we're talking about the end of the Trail of Tears or we're talking about the 1921 riot. And so for Philbrook to increasingly become a place where all Tulsans are comfortable coming together is at once an awesome opportunity and responsibility for us as an organization. But this is something that we're thrilled about. To put this in further context, the national average for minority participation is only 9%. So again, for us to be over 40% for 3 consecutive years is something fantastic. And also, the other thing that's been driving our growth is that we've had 149% increase in educational program participation during the course of the past 5 years, from about 22,000 people to nearly 55,000 people annually at the museum. And so the result of all of this, as you can see, is that our membership has increased 22%. In fact, during the course of the past 5 years, we've seen institutional high water marks for membership in 5 out of the last 6 years. Really excited about this. Members are, of course, the lifeblood of our organization, but I can tell you that there are many museums around the country that may have seen a spike in attendance during the downturn, but there are very few that saw an increase in membership, let alone a double-digit increase in membership. So that's been really encouraging to see the way that the community has responded. And speaking of which, we're also so grateful for the fact that we continue to be at the top of the list with all of those readers' polls. The Oklahoma Museum Association, for in fact the past 3 years, we've also been given the award for the best community outreach or educational initiative. We're very proud of that as an organization. In fact, last year, one of the culminating events with all of this was that the governor recognized us with the Governor's Art Award for Community Service. This is exciting. When they called to let us know that we were going to be receiving this award, they actually said that we had been nominated for arts and education. But the committee, which reserves the right, decided that community service was a better category for us. And I can tell you, as a staff member at the museum, we are thrilled with this distinction because it so clearly speaks to the kind of work that we're trying to achieve within the region and the community. Okay, so that's some quick updates, and now let me very briefly touch on a couple other really wonderful things that have happened at the museum. The first is that we, about 2 years ago, found out from our national accrediting organization, the American Alliance of Museums, that they had been conducting an independent, or been working with 2 independent researchers that were conducting research on museums in America and trying to define what made them, in their words, magnetic. And it had been a blind study. They had been giving actually data on 200 museums, AAM museums. They had come up with these 18 key indicators. They were working blindly, looking at data, financial and other survey data from 200 museums affiliated with the American Alliance of Museums. They threw all of that into the hopper with another 6,000 nonprofits via the National Center for Comparable Statistics, which really does exist, by the way. And at that point, they whittled it down to 26 institutions that they were keen on having a further dialogue with. And it was about this time that the National Accrediting by AAM reached out to those 26 organizations and said, you know, you've been participating in this blind study. We're at a point now where the researchers would like to contact with you and have a further conversation. Is it okay if we share your name and contact information with them? And of course, Philbrook was lucky enough to be on that, and of course we said yes. From there, we went through almost probably another 9 months of research, and it was at that point that they really turned the page. They went from a study that had been focusing almost entirely on the quantitative analysis to one that focused on the qualitative side of things. And so they spent that time working with these 26. From that, they focused then on 10. Philbrook was again fortunate enough to be a part of that group. They came to Tulsa, they did some site visits, they talked with a number of stakeholders, our trustees, donors, and so forth across the board. And then they really, as I said before, they started taking a look at these qualitative measurements. Core magnetism, you know, how well is an organization aligned and anchored by a compelling mission, vision, and great leadership? Brand magnetism. Do they generate broad awareness? Are they positively received? And do they create passionate loyalty within the community? And then thirdly, social magnetism. How do they create powerful connections with and among individuals? How do they bring people together? And how does that ultimately translate into increased shareholder investment and community building? And from that group of 10, they took all that research, they sent it back to AAM, who reviewed it and said, you know what, this is important stuff, let's fast track a book. And they did that. And just this past June, they launched this book, and Philbrook was one of 6 museums in America that was profiled as a national model of community engagement. This just goes to show, well, you really should be applauding for yourselves, because I think this really just goes to show how local involvement and investment can translate into something of national significance. So thank you very much for that. So that's just sort of a quick overview of where we've been, but hopefully I've touched a little bit about the values that we've embraced as an organization. And now I want to spend just a moment or two talking about the next great thing for us, which is this opportunity that we've been given to have a space downtown. As you know, I've spoken before with this group, because of the George Kaiser Family Foundation, we were given an opportunity to have a place down in the Matthews Warehouse building, right across the street from Guthrie Green, there in the heart of the Brady Arts District. And we were given 30,000 square feet of space to do 2 things. One was to cast a big spotlight on our Native American collection. Philbrook, with the advent of the Atkins collection of Native American art that was mentioned earlier in 2007, ultimately has one of the finest surveys of 20th century Native American art anywhere on the face of the planet. And this gives us an opportunity to, as I said, to highlight that center of excellence for ourselves. And then the second component of that was that we wanted to capture an opportunity to cast a spotlight on our emerging collection of modern and contemporary art. And that's what we've done. We went out and we hired a fantastic firm. There's our great sign on Brady there. We hired a wonderful architectural firm, Gluckman Manor Architects from Manhattan, who has a great track record, not only working with museums, but also working with institutions in terms of satellite spaces, taking these kind of industrial sites or warehouse spaces and turning them into perfectly elegant, sophisticated presentation galleries. And they hit a home run for us. This is your entryway when you first come in. How many of you have been there, by the way? Well, I hope the rest of you will go. First Friday is coming up. Last month during First Friday, we had 1,600 people come through this space. So it's a really exciting night. But that's our entryway. As you go up, we have a wonderful lobby area, social obligation or opportunity space, fully AV capable. If you're looking for a place to have a business meeting or a dinner or something like that, we can certainly accommodate you there. At the same time, great gallery space, as I said, to showcase our modern contemporary collection. The architecture is just wonderful. We never really wanted to eliminate the fact or erase the fact that this had been a warehouse space. Our goal with this was that we wanted to embrace that, but then marry that with a half a dozen or 10 great decisions that would, again, make it very sophisticated, very elegant, and appropriate for the presentation of world-class art. And hopefully that's what we've achieved. This, by the way, is a great exhibition. This is the Will Smith Gallery. But this is a wonderful exhibition of work. It's one of 2 changing exhibition galleries. There are 3 galleries on that first level. There are 2 that will be changing galleries. This is one of them. The earlier views that I showed you, we're treating these essentially as permanent collection spaces. So individual works of art may come and go, but typically you should not anticipate a wholesale change out of these every 6 months and so forth. But in these smaller gallery spaces, that in fact will be the case. And then as you go, again, additional shots of downstairs. And you go up this beautiful staircase into our Native American galleries. And upstairs, it's differently beautiful. We were able to do really 2 things. I was talking about small decisions that have big impact. 2 things upstairs. We were able to put down wood flooring, and we have skylights that allow a UV filtered natural light to come in. And it really is transformative in terms of feeling like a very distinct space from the downstairs, even though they share essentially the same architecture. but we're just so excited to finally be open and to have an opportunity for people to come and experience this space. And one of the other things that we did was establish a study center. Given the breadth and depth of this collection, on top of that, when we acquired the Atkins material, we also got really a treasure trove of archival material. He had as a collector these fantastic relationships with all the artists that he collected over decades. Great opportunities for the generation of scholarship there. Philbrook's existing library, the Chapman Library at our main campus, had a number of special collections within it. The Lawson Library, for example, 1,100 volumes, rare and out-of-print publications dealing with Native American art and culture. Those special collections went down to this space. And so the goal right now is, okay, we've got this incredible collection. We've got these wonderful archival materials, these special collections, and so forth. How do we marry that with a robust research agenda that ultimately will propel Philbrook back to the forefront of the dialogue regarding Native American art and culture? We think that this space will end up being used certainly by our colleagues, independent researchers, serious collectors that want to know more, but also we want just our typical visitor that may want to have a little more information about an artist that they just saw in the galleries, or they may want to do some independent reading on their own and so forth. We want this to be a great resource for all of our end users at the museum. And that's it. How'd I do? All right. Sure. Any questions? No question? All right. Thank you so much. Oh, there's one. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, and the hours down there are a little different than at our main campus. Downtown, we're open Wednesday through Saturday, noon to 7, and Sunday from noon to 5. And if you go, admission is $9 at the main campus and $7 downtown. If you pay $9 at the main campus, take your receipt downtown, you'll get in for free there. If you pay $7 downtown to come to the main campus, it's only another $2. So it's $9 total to see both locations. Free on First Friday? It will be free on First Friday, and both sites are free on Second Saturday. Yes? If you're a member, is it free to go? It is always free, absolutely. Yes, sir? Upcoming events you want to tell us about? Well, right now, I mean, we don't have anything right on the horizon, but we have some really fantastic things at present. If you haven't seen the downtown space, you need to do that just because it's wonderful and beautiful in every way. But the other part of it is that Adolf Gottlieb show. It's a wonderful sculpture exhibition with some paintings thrown in. That will only be here until the end of the month. Please make sure that you see that. And then just at the end of last month, we opened a great new show called Remainder. It's a wonderful exhibition focusing on 6 contemporary women sculptors at the museum. It's in our Helmrich Gallery. It is a beautiful exhibition. Very compelling work, exciting stuff, so we hope you get a chance to come and see that. And I can also tell you, as someone that has just been surveying the grounds after the big burst of last week, we're pretty much cleaned up and things are beautiful in the gardens. So if you have the chance to come and walk through the gardens, it's a particularly beautiful time. Everything is in bloom again. So thank you so much.
I'm just curious, how many Rotarians are members of Philbrook? Nice, very nice. Because, you know, membership started about $55. So anyway, let's give another round of applause because I think that Hal, Norm, and Will, and all of us who are members will agree that Rand has energized Philbrook. Let's give him another round of applause. And this book will go to our Celia Clinton Partner in Education School, and it's Brownie and Pearls Go for a Spin to the Philbrook in the Brady. So, thank you, Rand. Next week, Matt graciously allowed us, he's going to speak to us a little bit later. We have an opportunity to get a woman who is kind of an international rock star in new urbanism, and she's going to come talk to us, and there's a project they're going to be working on in the Tulsa area. We will be the first to hear about it, and so I'm kind of excited about hearing Elizabeth. We will get back to Matt because Matt will have you smiling when he leaves. So And the next week, remember Jake Henry Jr. will be coming with St. Francis Health System. So think about your friends who might be interested in any of these topics and bring them as a guest. And if we go back to our mystery Rotarian, Rand, if you need a future tour guide for Philbrook, our mystery Rotarian has a long history that will serve you well. In 1965, past President Bob Sade worked as a guide for the State of Oklahoma exhibit at the New York World's Fair. And you can see from this photo that he did more than just work the exhibit. And with that, we will close this Rotary meeting. Have a great week. See you next week.